welcome everyone to another episode of If You Will podcast. We're coming to you on a pretty laid back Friday. I have Danny Bateman from Frog here, who is down in Brooklyn hanging and doing his thing. And we're gonna kind of do a whole survey of his musical journey so far. Um, and we have to do it within 25 minutes, so no pressure to him, but we're gonna roll like there's no rolling. Um, so Danny, thanks so much for taking me up on this offer. I was harassing Jamie actually quite a bit, your PR guy, to to get you to come on because I was just so into you. And
Oh, thank you. Appreciate
I
that.
yeah, well, I was really excited that you finally had said yes. I think I've been asking him since season 2, but he was very gracious and he's like, "Oh, I'll get to them." And then he's like, "Why don't you have this person come on?" And then this, and then it just evolved. And anyway, all that to say, I'm super happy to have you here. Um, Dan, we usually like to start off with kind of like, I've kind of shifted my question a little bit. So, if you think back over your musical career so far, what were a few of the tipping points that really propelled your music forward or allowed you to get more recognition or shifted how you approach music in a way? What are some of those moments that come to you when you think about how you got to where you are now that were really poignant moments for you?
Um, so I was 7 years old when I started playing the piano,
Yeah.
and that was a pretty big moment for me. I took lessons with someone who taught me classical music.
Mm.
I still love classical music and I love playing the piano and I love playing you know, classical music on the piano. I feel like there's something really unique about experiencing music through playing it through
Mm.
sight reading because you're the artist and you're also experiencing the composer and what
Right.
they do. And you're bringing
Mm.
it to life in the way that you can. But like recently, I've been obsessively playing Mozart,
Mm.
like all the sonatas. And the way he plays, like if you play his music enough, like for as much as I have, you can start to see the things that he does. Like every artist,
Yeah.
especially the type of artist that I usually fall in love with,
Mm. Mm.
who compulsively make music, like it becomes an addiction for them. Like Charlie Parker's like that, Mozart's like that.
Yeah.
They tend to do the same things a lot. Like
Mm.
they have little birdisms, they have little Mozartisms, and it's like the kind of things Nikola Jokic, he does the Sombor shuffle. That's his move before he skyhooks over you, right?
Right.
So everybody has little things that they do, and if you play enough Mozart, you can start to ape him. You can start to do the things he does,
Mm.
and you can sort of like understand the way his body moves and what he does. And that was crazy to me, right? That you could actually, I'm experiencing what his body feels like 200 years later. And that's like an amazing, like sort of like thing. So that was big, starting to learn the piano.
Right.
Then I was in rock bands, like starting around age 12, 13. And I first went to the recording studio when I was like 15 or 16 and I
Oh.
made a record with my band in high school.
Mm.
Uh, and that was like a pretty big moment for me because that was the first time I ever like saw someone use a recording studio that knew what they were doing. Um, and the process of like overdubbing, of doing takes, of like doubling, of like singing it a bunch of times, like that whole process of like building, like a pop record,
Right.
uh, really like had a major effect on me. Like that was like
Mm.
the first time I was like, okay, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. I don't know
Mm.
how it's gonna happen, but like it's just like really, it's really like hooked me, you know?
Yeah.
Um, and so then, I went to like recording school but I wasn't really a good student, so I didn't really learn that much there. And I just taught it to myself later by doing it, which is the only
Mm.
real way to make art.
Yes. Yes.
And then, since then, like, every time you make a record, I'm learning, and that's the most exciting thing for me is I love to learn. And
Hmm.
every single time I make another record, I'm learning so much more and more, and I'm getting better and better at making music.
Yeah,
And that's really exciting to me because I think
that's cool. Yeah.
I've gotten really good now, and I'm getting better. That's a really exciting thing to me.
Mm.
Like
Mm.
I get better every day. I do
Wow,
things today that I would never be able to do yesterday, and that's amazing to me. So
that is
that's the
really
most
cool.
fun thing about music to me is like growing, getting, finding more things, finding more little corners of the world that I've never been to, you know?
Mm. Yeah, totally, totally. I love what you said too about feeling like that nostalgia of feeling like your body feeling how Mozart felt while he was like that kind of structure and almost like the root the routine that like you don't want to call art routine because it is creative and imagination comes in and feel and heart and but there is structures to songs, right? You can relate it to a mathematical kind of idea, right? It's very computational in the sense that songs usually have a structure that they follow. Do you feel that you've established kind of a structure style that you go to when you're writing songs? Or has it kind of always evolved, as you said, with your music, where you're just learning new things all the time? Or do you have a set kind of like structure of how a song comes to be?
I mean, it's a really good question. Form is the most essential aspect of any art.
Mm.
Like, form creates the walls that you sit in, right?
Mm.
Form gives meaning to everything you do. Without form, nothing means anything. Buñuel says that the art that tries to have um, no influences is the most formulaic of all art. Like it's the most,
Mm.
um, it steals the most, right?
Right. Right.
And every form is really someone doing a version of an old song, right? Someone
Mm.
doing a song is a form, right? A type of song. Like this is a country song, right?
Right.
You have to have a hook that's funny. It's like, and the hook it creates the purpose of the verses, right? And
Hmm.
um, or a funk song. The funk song, it's got to be a fucking dope riff. And
Right.
then James Brown is just talking over it. He says he's got a hook, and then he just vibes for like,
Right.
you know what I mean? That's the
Yeah.
form,
Yeah.
right? And so yeah, I mean like Mozart, for example, like the sonatas. The sonata form, you say something in one key, right? And then you say another thing in the five of that key.
Hmm.
And then you go and you do some fun stuff, and then you go back to the first thing, and then you say the same thing you said in the five, but now you say it in the one, and that's a sonata, right? Or
Right.
the first, or yeah, that's the sonata form. And
Hmm.
then you,
Hmm.
you have a fast song, a slow song. Sometimes you have a dance, like a minuet and trio, and then you have a really fast song to end. So
Yeah.
that's like it's like a set, and that's all of his sonatas are like that, and they're all exactly the same. Every
Yeah.
single one is exactly the same.
Right.
And that's why they're so beautiful, is because a lot of the things that I was saying, like a lot of the things that I'm exploring with the whole variations thing,
Hmm.
is like once you establish a form, once you set in stone the things that can happen in your art, then you can start to discover what else is there. And there's so much else there. There's infinite things, you know, like here's an example.
Hmm.
J.K. Rowling, I don't know if you've read Harry Potter to your kids, if you've read Harry Potter at all.
Yep.
Okay.
Well
Every
versed.
Harry Potter book
Hmm.
is exactly the same. He starts, he's with the Dursleys, he's in the summer, right? There's a lot of drama. His birthday happens, right? And then something cool happens. He goes with Ron. There's like he meets up with his friends, and then they go to school. And then there's like ominous stuff happening. And then in the end, he meets Voldemort and beats him. Right?
That's it. You got it.
Established form, right?
Yep.
And she
Yep.
writes the same book over and over again, but she
Mm,
gets better and better at it. Every
mm,
book is better
mm,
and better.
mm.
Until the last one when it's like incredible, right? And she's a master.
Right.
So there's something to
Right.
learn from that, right? Repetition is the father of learning.
Right.
Once you understand the form, you can do it better than anyone else. And so
Mm,
that's the idea of the variations is you
mm.
have to set in stone the things that you want to play with. These are your instruments, these are your flavors. You know what I mean? This is your recipe.
Right.
And you can just do it in all sorts of ways,
Mm,
infinite ways. And that's sort of the variations project, like the first like 11 of them or 10 of them I put on this record.
mm-hmm.
But me and Stevie, we go in there, we'll do like 30, 40 songs in one night. Like it,
Wow.
honestly, like,
Serious production.
well, that's what I'm saying, Chris.
Mm,
Like, if you
mm.
just like J.K. Rowling got better and better at it, and then she became the best. By the seventh
Right.
book, she was the best fantasy writer. Like, that's one of the
Yep.
best fantasy series ever,
Mm-hmm.
right? And once you do something enough, then you can start to do something like things get really exciting. You start to be able to do things that you never could before. And that's what's sort of exciting about doing this project. You know what I mean? Like
Mm,
I a lot of it is related to like Lil Wayne. Um,
mm-hmm.
he was doing a lot of mixtapes in like the 2007, 2008, 2009 era. Um, and he would do them all in like 1 or 2 days. And there's no choruses. There's no They're just beats that he likes or like any beats that someone puts on. And he just flows. You record the whole thing, he'll stop, he'll think about it, and then he'll record the next part. And like he has his little cribs. They call them crypts. Like
Mm.
he has those little things he says. He says like Wheezy F baby, and the F is for something. The F is for front door because that's where I bring it. Sue woo if you bang it. Right. And he always like has the same types of things that he says over and over and over and over again. And he just has so much fun because he knows exactly what happens in a Lil Wayne rap song. And he takes those and he can do this a million different ways, like that, infinite ways. And that's what the mixtapes are. He can just flow and just have so much fun and not have anyone else to worry about rapping or doing hooks. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like those are the most exciting Wayne music to me is like the mixtapes, especially the ones he made from 2006 to 2009
Mm.
before he went to jail. And that was also like really influential on like the Variations project.
Right. Right. And I mean, thinking about that, I love your words and how you're describing that. How do you apply this to your songwriting process? Like, how does a song come from an idea you have in your head, that seed of an idea, to flushing it out, to to seeing it go on tape? And when do you know when a song is worth keeping going with, rather than just kind of throwing it on the floor and I'll come back to that maybe some other time? It's just not working anymore. Like, do you have songs that start as ideas that blossom and others that just don't meet the level that you're trying to get at?
So the answer is of course, but like, back in the day, I think I was like much more um like I wrote like other people,
Mm,
like I would work on a song for a while and I would try it a bunch of ways and I would write the lyrics.
mm,
Like I hear people talk about songwriting and I used to do it in a way that's sort of analogous to what they do. But like now I just go,
mm,
honestly.
mm.
You sit me in
Does it
front of the
start
piano,
with like
turn it on,
the music,
I
or
just
does
play it.
okay, okay. Mm,
It's all improvised. I'm improvising every single thing that happens, right?
yeah.
And we'll improvise all night. There'll be 30 songs that we improvise.
Mm,
And then the ones that we like, we're like, can we use this improvised version? And just like maybe like double the vocals? And usually the answer is no because I was like slurring my words or something. But
Hmm.
like sometimes the answer is yes, and those were really
Hmm.
fun. That's what I aspire to. Like I want to like go on. I want to like stream making a whole record live. Never wrote any of the songs before. It's all improvised, and then put that out. That's what I like. That's the mixtape. That's Lil Wayne. I'm doing
Right.
it. I'm writing the beat too as we
Right.
go.
Right.
I'm like I just got more weapons. I
Hmm.
mean, he's better than me at what he does. Obviously, he's the greatest ever.
Right.
But can't play the piano like I can.
Do those
So
improv sessions though, Danny, do you just hit record on those? Like, is that kind of like your incubator time, like where you're just trying to flush ideas out and um like everything gets recorded and then you listen back to those and say, okay, that chunk was great. That's great too. That maybe we can combine those two or like kind of dissect it all up so that it fits inside again the structure of a frog song?
yeah, like I do stuff like you're describing, but like you know, as I keep doing this, as I keep now I make music like compulsively.
Hmm.
Like I'm doing it. I can't stop.
Hmm.
And um, but I like that. It's a good thing that I can't stop, but I can't.
Hmm.
And like so instead of like it being something that I'm doing consciously, I just go, right? I'm just improvising songs and songs and songs. And now there's so much music that I've recorded.
Hmm.
Like I can't even listen to all of it. You know what I mean? Like I really can't. I don't have time.
Right. I
So
mean, even the stuff you've put out a ton of stuff, which is
you have no idea.
amazing.
I'm gonna put out more next week.
Right. Right. And with all of this recording history and all of your catalog that you have, how do you find that the latest fits in there? Um, 100 variations on the same song.
A thousand.
Where do you classify that amongst your catalog?
So, I spent a whole year doing what I'm describing, just like endless improvised sessions with Steve.
Right.
And I think all of those things are like actually insane. Like some of the things that happened those nights are like I don't know how that's possible, but like again, I couldn't even listen to all of it. Like it's endless.
Right.
So like I just like took the ones that I remembered that happened and then I recorded them again on tape. And that's what it is. Like it's a really like
Okay.
we did it really, really quickly. It was like
Right.
like a couple week like a week or a few sessions, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
then we put it out because we liked the way it sounded.
Hmm.
So like that that's the only bit of like editing or forethought I put in. It's just like I remembered that those songs were good, and so I did them again on the 8-track tape.
Hmm.
My 8-track is I like the way it sounds, but it's broken. Like every song is more and more lo-fi because every track is breaking more and more.
Okay.
I have to get it fixed, but I haven't had
Right.
time. Um,
Do you self-record? Like do you go into studios once you have like a group of songs you're ready to
everything myself.
amazing.
I track
Amazing.
it, I mix it, I master it, I write it, I play every instrument except for
Yeah,
drum. Stevie plays. It's
right.
always
That's your brother, right?
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Stevie's my brother, but
Right on.
yeah, it's always good to have someone there
Hmm.
because otherwise you'll spend like a month trying to get this song right,
Right.
and if you just looked over in his eyes and you saw that he wasn't vibing on it, you would just move on instantly. You would wait. You would that whole month was wasted because that song sucks. That's why it's not working. You know what I mean?
Right. Right. That's really interesting. And like since this has been out, it's been out a month now. Been in the world. How have you felt the reaction has been towards it, towards your latest?
I think it's been pretty awesome. Um, like we sold out the Bowery Ballroom, which
Yeah,
a
that's
month
amazing.
early, which blew my mind.
Yeah.
Um, but Madison Square Garden is coming next. You know what I mean?
That's it.
I need
Raise the
money.
bar. Time to raise the bar.
Gotta raise the bar.
That's cool. And like, what's people's reaction to your show? Like, I mean, I know you're on stage and the lights are there and it's chaotic, and but when you look at it in the crowd and see people that are watching you, and like, what's the vibe that you get from crowds when you're performing?
So when I was early in my career, everyone was asleep when I was on stage. Later in my career, they weren't asleep anymore, but there weren't that many of them.
Okay. And
And
now,
now the good shows, people are fucking very into them.
nice.
I don't have to remember my own lyrics because the crowd is just screaming it.
That's
So
what I was going to ask you. Like, I talked to one musician. He said, I knew that I was connecting with people when they knew the lyrics better than I did. Like
it's not hard to know the
show,
lyrics better than me. I forget them all the time. That's why I
right?
make up songs so I can don't have to remember them.
Right, right. I remember when I was performing, I always had to bring a page of paper with the first line because I figure if I could get the first line, everything else would just start tumbling. Hopefully that's and it kind of helped because usually it was like, shit, what's that first line? And then you'd kind of like start looking at people, freeze up. So I learned the hard way that just write the first fucking line on there and then maybe, and it totally was a good trick. It helped.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that can help too.
Yeah.
No, singing it is the only way to, in art, the only way to learn to do something is to do it.
Right. Yep. Totally. I read this Aristotle quote to these kids today, and that you don't learn to do anything without doing it. I mean, he only said it like 5 million years ago, but it still applies. That you can study and read and watch videos and listen to a gazillion tracks, but until you get your hands involved in doing something, particularly in the arts field, I mean, forget about it. Forget about it. It's not gonna, it won't stick.
Nothing else will suffice. I could not agree more.
That's it.
You
That's
have to
it.
just try. Just get out there. Do
That's
it.
it.
Do it to the end. Release it. It's not done until you release it.
Yep.
Have to
Well,
release it
here's
too.
my final question for you, Danny, because I'm cognizant of our time. And again, I really appreciate this time. This was a really fun conversation. And I guess my last question to you is, seeing as that you've had this pretty intense um, relationship with music, what kind of advice do you give to those younger kids that are just starting up, or, they're out of high school and they want to start a band? And like, what are some of the things that you learned in your journey so far that have been very helpful for you um, when it comes to doing your own music?
Uh, the most important thing in art and life is you need to fail a
Mm,
lot. You need to iterate. You need to attempt. You need to really try and make the best record you can right now. And then you need to release it. And then you need to learn from that over
mm,
and over again ad infinitum.
mm,
That's the most important thing. It's the actually only important thing is that
mm.
you need the reps.
Yep.
Now I've made so much music that I have had more reps than almost anyone. Not more than Lil Wayne, but
Right.
a
Or
lot more than
Mozart,
a lot
maybe.
of other people.
Right.
And now I think that's why I can do this is because
Yeah.
I've done it so many times.
Right.
And so like I think also like music's about having fun, and if you're not having fun, then the song isn't good. And if
Mm,
you are having fun, then the song is good. And
mm.
it's not that complicated.
Right.
So you have to, it has to be fun. If it's not fun, then you shouldn't be doing it.
There you go.
And
That's cool.
yeah, like the business part of it, do not spend any time on the business part of it at
Mm,
all. It's not worth spending time on. If it works
right.
out, that's great. If it doesn't, don't worry about it. It's about having
Mm,
fun. It's worth
yep.
doing in and of itself because that's what you like doing because you're a musician. And if you don't like doing it, then why are you fucking doing it?
Right. Do something else. Yeah,
Anything
totally.
else?
Totally.
Yeah.
And you saying that, like, it sounds like you're always having fun, and on most of the songs you write that are out there in the world, they just make you feel like I feel how you feel, and it's it's happy, it's interest, it's drawing you in, like all those beautiful things that you hope happen. I find that in your songwriting. So,
Thank
and
you.
I mean, the latest record's just been really on repeat for me. Plus all the other ones. I mean, geez, you have so many freaking great songs.
Thank you.
I really appreciate that you're still putting music out, and we'll just keep listening to it. Um,
Thanks,
and
Chris.
finally, Danny, what's 2025? What can people anticipate? Can you share any music that's coming out, or tour dates, or anything that people could check you out and buy a record or a shirt or support you in some way?
We're going on tour next week.
Oh shit! Okay,
We're on the West Coast.
nice.
Um, LA and New York are sold out. SF is running low, so you better get there if you want that. Uh, Portland and Vancouver, there's a bunch of tickets left, but I think you should get there if you want to. You should really,
Yeah,
if you want to come see us, get on the internet and buy some tickets because they're running fast.
there we go.
Thank God.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
encouraging though, when tickets are selling.
I just need money, man. I need money very badly,
Yeah.
and I'm very happy that people are excited to give it to me because that is very convenient. You know what I mean? Comes in handy, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Money is what makes the world go round, unfortunately. But at the same time, it allows us to do the things we want to do. If you have it. So um, go and buy a record, check out Frog, get a record at your local record store. If you can go and see them live, go and see him live. Go and say hi to Danny. I'm sure he's would be very happy to say
I'm
hello to
selling
you.
t-shirts. I sell my own t-shirts.
There you go.
My little scheme, right? I feel like people want to talk to me, they have to buy a t-shirt or else it's awkward. You know what I mean?
Right.
What are you doing talking to me? We're selling t-shirts.
I like
Talk to
that.
me, but you have to buy it.
There you go. And maybe you could even buy him a beer or a drink for his performance.
I'll take
Frog,
that too.
check it out. 100 variations on the same song came out a month ago. Go get it. 1,000, sorry, more than that. 1,000 variations on the same song. Plus, is just go check out his catalog. Check out his Bandcamp page. Danny's prolific in his writing. And from our conversation that we just had, I don't think he's stopping, guys. So there'll be more to follow up with Frog down the road. So, Danny,
Can't
I will
stop for
definitely
long,
have
dude.
you back on the next record, and I hope that we can continue this conversation because it's been really a fascinating one. So, thank you.
Thanks, Chris.
Cheers.
Thanks for having me.
Pleasure.
You tell me that you ain't my type. That's okay, girl, I don't mind. It's just that shit was out of line on housebroken, girl, I don't buy. And you tell me that you can't stay still. Ain't this town serve alcohol? It's got me crawling up a wall. I'm pounding up a fucking tall one. I'm fucking around, I'm fucking around, I'm fucking around. I'm bucking them down, I'm bucking them down, I'm bucking them down. You sounded clever to regale her from to all her friends. But you looked over and she hadn't eaten anything. Lisa said when she felt chinchilla fucking up the track like my name Jay Dilla. Pop Michael Jackson, I also Thriller Cat. Just fast man, stone cold killer. You're taking this and draw 2 lines through it. Now we're talking sense like the coach done do it. Now we're talking sex, they'll walk you through it. So much trouble like a